Hey everybody! Well, today my copy of Paul McCartney's Flaming Pie finally arrived. I'm a little late to the party, but that's okay. It was well worth the wait because I am so happy with this pressing of Paul's album Flaming Pie. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you know, there were many different editions of this new remaster of Paul McCartney's Flaming Pie album. I decided to go with the 2 LP edition, and that is exactly what this is. This is the half speed mastering 2 LP edition, and I'm super impressed with this. When they first announced Flaming Pie, I wasn't all that excited, just because, in my opinion, Flaming Pie already sounded great. And when they showed like the bonus material and stuff, it was nothing that I hadn't heard already, really. But I will talk about that later. There is a lot of stuff that I hadn't heard, but I thought I'd heard it, but I hadn't. But this is my original CD of Flaming Pie that I bought in 1997. I remember the day very well. I was very excited for the album, and I loved it when I first bought it, and I have continued to love it. And the CD sounds great, in my opinion, this original CD. I've listened to it. I listened to this like 2 weeks ago in anticipation of Flaming Pie, and it sounded really good. But I've never owned a copy of Flaming Pie on record before. So this is my very first copy of Flaming Pie that I have on vinyl. So I don't really have anything else to judge this against as far as a vinyl pressing of the album. I have heard, though, a bunch of my friends own I've heard an original UK copy of Flaming Pie that a friend of mine has that he bought for a lot of money. And it sounded great. And I've heard a US pressing of Flaming Pie as well on Capitol Records that a friend of mine had. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't remember exactly how it sounded. I just remember that he had it, and this was like in the late 90s. It might have been like a couple years after Flaming Pie was released. And this guy had this pressing of Flaming Pie, and he played it, and I was really impressed. But I don't exactly have a clear memory of how it sounded or not. I just thought it sounded good at the time. Anyway, this pressing, though, I am so happy with. I listened to this earlier. It sounds really great. I gotta say first off that the vinyl on this, the quality of the vinyl is so great. It is dead quiet. When I put this on and I played the very first song, I had to check to make sure that my speakers were actually on. It was that quiet, the vinyl itself. No surface noise at all. So that's really great. And I think the reason for that is, so this was pressed in Germany. Now, I'm a big fan of records that are pressed in Germany. Almost every record I've ever picked up that was pressed in Germany is just an amazing pressing. And this is the same as far as that goes. Now, I'm not sure if all the Flaming Pie vinyl was pressed in Germany or if just the 2 LP edition was pressed in Germany. I don't really know about all that. Maybe some of you can tell me in the comments below. But this one was pressed in Germany, and it is absolutely amazing. Now, we'll talk about the sound a little bit more in depth as we go. But first, let me show you exactly what you get with this 2 LP edition. So first off, the actual sleeve is really nice, thick cardboard. It looks great. It feels great. There's the front cover, that great Linda McCartney photo. There's the back. Also excellent. And it is a gatefold. And this is exactly how it was when I got it. So inside, you get this booklet and this little card, and I will talk about both of those in a second. There's the gatefold. Very nice. Again, with the Linda McCartney photos in there. And the actual records themselves come in these really nice, very sturdy cardboard inner sleeves. Now, it would have been nice to have lined inner sleeves, with like the bag lining in there so it doesn't get all scratched up. But these are very sturdy, so very nice to have those. Let me take out the actual record here. So it's 180 gram vinyl. So it's very sturdy, very hefty piece of vinyl. And there is record 1, side 1. And side 2, I won't bother showing you the second record because it looks exactly the same as this one. But the records are just very, very, very nicely made, and the whole packaging is just top notch. Paul McCartney always, in my opinion, goes all out when it comes to the packaging of his albums, and he's always done that. Even from his very first album, the McCartney album, you had the nice gatefold, and just a lot of care has always been taken with giving the fans a great, great package, and he's continued to do that even to this day, because this is top notch as far as the actual packaging of the album. Now, we'll talk about this card in a second, but the booklet is very, very cool. Now, the booklet is basically a 100% reproduction of the booklet you got in the CD case here, but it's nice to have it in a much larger format, and it's just a very, very cool booklet. It has all the song lyrics. It's got explanations of each of the songs, kind of like back history written by Mark Lewison, who's one of probably the best Beatles historian, Beatles author. And then you also get little comments from Paul as well, talking about his thoughts about the songs and how the songwriting process and all that. Very, very cool booklet, and again, top-notch quality here. Really, really nice. Something I thought was extra cool and kind of got to me is on the back here, where it lists the this reissue's credits and stuff. The very first line, it says, "This reissue is dedicated to Linda, George Martin, and Jeff Emmerich." I thought that was a really, really nice touch. So the booklet is fantastic. Now, this card is very, very cool and interesting, and I've never seen anything like this before in a packaging, but let me read it to you. So it says, "This record was pressed from a master cut using a precision technique known as half-speed mastering. The procedure requires the source master and the cutting lathe to run at half speed on a specially adapted Neumann VMS 80 lathe." So it says, "This specialized technique transforms difficult-to-cut high-end frequencies into easier-to-cut mid-range frequencies. The result is a cut with excellent high-frequency response and very solid and stable stereo images. In short, half-speed mastering produces a master of the highest quality. In addition to being half-speed mastered, we have cut the main studio album as a double LP. Flaming Pie originates from a period when the CD was allowing longer running times, and as a result, this album is a little too long for a quality single LP. While it could be made to fit on one vinyl disc, compromises would need to be employed to the audio. Typically, this would entail a combination of reducing the level, limiting the amount of low-frequency information, and narrowing the stereo width. To avoid these compromises, this LP has been cut as a double, and it's written by Miles Showell, mastering engineer, Abbey Road Studios, and then it has a very cool little stamp in here that says Paul McCartney, half-speed mastering, Abbey Road Studios, and then it has a copy of Paul's signature on there as well. So very, very cool that they put this card in there to really explain why, first of all, why the album is a double LP for the vinyl, and just the care that went into making this sound as good as it does. So let's talk about now the actual sound of this record compared to the original Paul McCartney Flaming Pie CD. Now, like I said, I don't own any of the other pressings of Flaming Pie, so I can only base this off of what I've heard on the CD and what I've heard from the remaster that I've heard digitally online. First off, I gotta say, and I probably said this earlier, but let me just re-emphasize this. Flaming Pie has never sounded bad. This has always sounded excellent. This is a top-notch recording, and I've always loved this CD. It's been one of my favorite CDs to listen to. It just has excellent sound. So that was why when they talked about this reissue campaign for Flaming Pie, I wasn't all that excited to pick up a new edition of Flaming Pie, just because it sounded so good already. I didn't see how there could really be that much of an improvement. That being said, this blew my mind. This sounds absolutely amazing, and it is a pretty big improvement over this. That being said, if you own the original CD, it still sounds great. But owning this 2 LP edition on vinyl, it really brings this album, it brings out all of its best characteristics. First of all, you get way more low end that I noticed in this than you get with the CD. And with the CD, it seems like the low end was a little bit more processed, possibly, which they have to do when it comes to a CD and digital format. It just seems like the low end on here is just a little bit, has that much more warmth to it. And it's just got something kind of magical about it. Now, that also being said, I should talk about, you can just hear a lot more clarity within this vinyl pressing. Now, that probably has a lot to do with the remastering that was done, but it also probably has a lot to do with the half-speed mastering as well, cut to vinyl, I should say. It just sounds great. I really can't praise it enough. It's got amazing sound, and on top of that, the songs on this album are just great as well. My wife, by the way, walked in about halfway through me listening to this, and the first comment she said was, she's like, wow, I guess I kind of forgot how great this album is. And she even said, like, I guess I didn't really know this album all that well. So she was impressed with the album as well, just as far as the songs. And it is truly one of Paul's best albums, I gotta say. I put it up there with, I don't know. To me, I like this even more than like Tug of War. And I put it up there with, nothing can ever beat Ram for me. Ram is my hands down favorite Paul McCartney album. And it doesn't really beat Band on the Run, but it's definitely somewhere behind those two for me. It's just top-notch Paul McCartney. And I highly recommend picking up this 2 LP edition because it sounds great, the packaging's great, and it's just really wonderful to listen to. Now, that being said, the bonus material. So now this doesn't have any of the bonus material on here, but I listened to all the bonus material that I could online, and there is a lot of really cool stuff on there, especially a lot of the home demos that I'd never heard before. Those are very interesting to listen to. That being said, they're not pieces of music that I would listen to over and over again. They're cool to listen to one time. They're interesting to listen to. Same goes for like the early mixes of some songs. I know that there's an early mix of what is it? The song we were singing, Heaven on a Sunday, Beautiful Night. Those ones, they're interesting to listen to. They sound pretty good, but again, not something I'm going to listen to on repeated listens all that much. So I'm very happy just owning the full album on this 2 LP edition. I think it sounds great, and highly recommended to anyone thinking about picking it up because it's great. So that's it for now. Flaming Pie, I'm going to be listening to this all weekend and really enjoying it. And I'd love to know in the comments below what you think about it. If you picked up either the 2 LP edition or the, I think it's the 3 LP edition of Flaming Pie. Let me know in the comments below what you picked up and if you're enjoying it. So that's it for now, and talk to you later. Bye for now.